Hello my friends and welcome to Youth Potential, a channel dedicated to helping young people with mental health problems. I have two books available, 102 Distraction Techniques and Self-Harm to Self-Harmony. Both of these books are only available on Amazon. Thank you very much for watching this video. Hello my friend, Scott here representing Youth Potential. Sorry for the quality of this video. First of all, I'm in my dim room. I absolutely hate recording in here, but I've got no choice right now. So today there was an interview on the BBC with Molly Russell's father. So I didn't even know about this. I was at work and just as I was finishing up, I saw on the TV in the bar area that he was being interviewed, and I didn't realise that yesterday was the 2nd anniversary of her passing. So if you guys don't know anything about Molly Russell, she's a young girl that committed suicide a couple of years ago, and her father blames kind of like social media platforms, especially Instagram, for allowing self-harm graphic images, those kinds of things. And it was found out that Molly had been looking at that stuff, and he believes that's what influenced her. So today there was an interview on the BBC. I managed to get the recording of the majority of the interview. What I'm going to do, if I can find the actual real full interview on the BBC website, I'll put a link in the description below. If I can't find it, if someone else can and post it in the comments, that'd be absolutely amazing. The quality of the video isn't particularly great because I did it on my phone whilst recording off of a television, and there was music in the background, but if you watch it you can hear it very clearly. You don't really need good video quality in terms of visuals because it's just them talking to each other. So yeah, anyway, let me know what you think. It's quite an important interview, and it obviously surrounds the whole banning of self-harm content on Instagram. Anyway guys, thank you very much for watching. Anyway, here it is.
Signs that, when we look back with hindsight, all the little clues line up. And now they look like a positive clue. At the time, there were big gaps between them, and each isolated thing was very hard to spot.
But as you say, it felt normal to you at the time. I mean, do you talk to your parents about how you're feeling all of the time? Or do you keep it to yourselves and share with friends?
I wouldn't say like I keep it to myself most time, but definitely not all the time.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things, you know, when someone says like, oh, how are you doing? And you're just like, oh, I'm doing good. It's almost like you don't actually.
You wouldn't go, oh, actually today I'm feeling a little bit like this, because it's just conversation. It's, oh, how are you? I'm good, thank you.
You want to say I'm fine. That's a sort of normal thing. So we one of the things we think we should have done as a family, instead of saying, are you okay, Molly? If you would answer, I'm fine, is actually say what's wrong. If we thought she was a bit more quiet than normal, because that might have encouraged her to say, well actually, I'm having a bad day today.
Was there any point where you were like, that's not really like her? Was there any point where you were, or was it just a shock?
I think the worst point, which is huge again when we look back at it, was we went to a family party with a few people that we didn't know, and Molly was very, very quiet and hardly spoke. It was a barbecue party at the end of the summer, and she didn't say very much to anybody. And that was probably the biggest clue that she gave anyone. But again, it was the sort of behaviour we'd seen in other teenagers, early teenagers. So it's so hard to pick normal behaviour from that sort of depressive behaviour.
I'm going to bring in a moment Binaka Debitsa from the Royal College of Psychiatrists, but I want to show you and read you some Instagram posts that we found just this weekend. This is despite your incredible campaigning, Ian, having gone over there to talk to Instagram, and this promise from them that they are taking down, as they put it, that, you know, we've removed graphic images of self-harm, though we can't find all of it, but we are making progress. But the first one, I'm going to read you because it's too graphic to show. And again, let me give you a warning. If you're at home with younger children and you think this content is not appropriate for them, please do turn away for the next few minutes. I know it's half term, I've got kids myself. So just to give you that warning. But the first one I'm going to read you is this, and I want to get your reaction as 13-year-olds. And again, I've checked with your mum if this is all right, and she's fine with it. It says, I miss cutting. I miss my razor blades. I miss the blood. I'm sorry, you thought I was over it, but honestly, I just miss it. How do you respond to that?
Wow, that's a lot to just process, honestly. That's a lot. Like, you can't even, if you came across that, even if you weren't looking for it, that's like, whoa, like.
Yeah, the idea that, like, that heals people.
Yeah,
But they think it heals people, yeah. The fact, I think it's because it's their problem. They made it a problem, so therefore they should be punished. Is it?
How do you respond to that, Ian? Do you see that as potentially harmful and really sinister?
I think it seems to me, as someone who doesn't fully understand self-harming, that it's potentially sinister and harmful. I think you have to be better qualified. You have to better understand the reasons behind that sort of behaviour, because people don't do that thing for fun. They do it out of a need, and they continue to do it for a need. So I think we need to really fully understand the reasons behind self-harm.
Let me show you the next one, if I may. The voice in my mind when I'm in pain. And then you can see the word cut repeated multiple times. How do you respond to that, Trinity?
I just feel like it's like it's jumping out the screen at you. It's only a word, but I feel like it's got so much power behind it, especially when it's used in that context. And it's like, that is just so, if you're already thinking about this kind of thing and you see other people thinking the same thing as you, and you almost relate, if you're relating to it, and then you're like, oh, me too, I guess, and that's just subliminal. You don't even think about it.
What do you think about that one, Ian?
I think it's a great example of something that if you're exposed to that sort of content time and time again, it just becomes normal.
Yes.
Cutting isn't something that is abnormal anymore. And if you're trying and struggling and trying to stop cutting and find help, it just discourages that quest, and it's more likely that you'll give up and continue cutting, I think.
I'm going to show you one more, and this is an example of the kind of helpful post that can be out there. And let's be honest, social media can be a force for good, and if you are struggling, you can find support online sometimes. This says, suicide is a permanent solution for a temporary problem. And let me bring in Bernadka Dwitzer from the chair, who is the chair of the Child and Adolescent Faculty at the Royal College of Psychiatrists. What do you make of those posts?
Well, clearly they're deeply distressing, but I think the point's already been made by Ian that if you're a young person who's feeling very vulnerable at the moment, you're going to really struggle to shrug that kind of content off. And there's this amplification process whereby these sorts of feeds become more and more intense, and young people get more bombarded by more and more of this type of content. And if you're very vulnerable, you're feeling depressed, you've got low self-esteem, it's really easy to become completely submerged within that content and become full of despair. However, I think a really important point to make, and again Ian sort of highlighted this, we have a huge crisis in terms of mental health provision in this country at the moment. Many young people cannot get the help that they need early on, and perhaps if young people like Molly will be able to access just as easily the sort of support they needed early on, then hopefully this sort of detrimental content may have less of an impact. So for example, I noticed with your programme you immediately gave warnings, you said there was an action line, a support line people could phone. Why can't social media companies do the same thing? Young people need to be able to access positive content and sources of help just as easily, if not more easily, than accessing this negative content.
I mean, if I have done it for the purposes of research for having our conversation, Ian, if you look up self-harm or suicide, there are individuals who are posting those helpline numbers under that hashtag because they know that people who are vulnerable will see them. Is that enough, or does it have to come from the social media companies?
I think the problem with social media is it works by keeping you on the platform. That's how they make their money. Stay on this platform, use it longer, and we'll make more money. And so it will push similar content. It has algorithms designed to push content that it thinks you're likely to like.
And just let me pause you there. Did you know that? Did you know that if you search for certain stuff, then more stuff will be pushed towards you?
So I recently started following like singers, so like Ariana Grande and things like that, and then like other singers would pop up on my feed. So I guessed it. So if you were to look up a helpline, or like under the caption like suicide, would that then come up with actual suicide pictures and stuff? Like you might meaning it for the positive like help,
But
you might get.
if you just search like the hashtag suicide,
Yeah.
to me it's like one of those posts is like helpful. The others are just so like,
It's almost like an advertisement to do it.
and it's really just
So I think because of the dangers, I think that if people are searching for those terms, the algorithms that the social media platforms use should be adapted so that they're much more likely to push you gently and carefully towards support. Any change needs to be very carefully managed. I don't want to stop the benefits of social media. We must be careful that the regulations that might come in are sensible. We don't want censorship. We want sensible regulations. But it's not right that there's content freely available online, that I say if you take that content and you were to put that on a billboard, a poster board at the edge of a town, I think there's so much content of that town would be outraged and they would demand it be taken down.
That's a really good point. That is such a good point. Pihal says on Twitter, I come across pictures which portray and show self-harm all the time, although I am not searching for that. Another viewer says, I have extensive scarring from self-harm when I was a teenager. I've actually started a body positive Instagram account as a space for people who have scars and no longer want to spend their lives covering up. Several of my posts will be removed though. It's like we're being erased. You've done what you have done so far in terms of trying to clean up social media. Where do you go from here?
I think this is just the beginning. Instagram is just one platform, and it's very encouraging that they have announced steps to make their platform a safer place for people to visit. I think that needs to spread around the whole tech industry. So if they're leading by example, others need to follow, and they need to follow quickly, because the official Office of National Statistics stats in this country say that something like, on average, 4 school-aged children end their lives to suicide every week. That's 4 Mollies, that's 4 families, like our family, that's 4 sets of school friends whose lives are torn about by an unnecessary suicide. So I think pressure is on to move swiftly, carefully, but to prevent the loss of future young life by doing as much as they possibly can to remove content that might be harmful online. And then it becomes a useful place to look, a happy place to play and spend time. And that's what we all want when we're online.
And how would you say you and Molly's mum and Molly's older sisters are doing 2 years on?
2 years isn't a very long time after suicide. It'll take, well, for the rest of our lives, we will always remember Molly and have grief and regret. But it will take time. Molly's sisters are amazing. They're
How old are they now?
They're 22 and 19 now, and if ever I'm feeling a bit low, they're the people I think about. I think my wife, similarly, we look at them and go, that's how you do it, keep going, be positive. And there's lots of good things, of course, still to look forward to, and you just have to remember to get through the down times, and the good times will come afterwards.
Is Molly the first person that you think about when you wake up in the morning every day?
Not always, but often. Very soon after her death, there was probably a second when you woke up, and as you came out of your sleep, you thought, another day, and you didn't remember. It didn't take long, and then that dreadful memory of what you'd just lived through came back, and for the rest of your day, it was living under a very dark cloud indeed. Those seconds are already longer, might be 3 or 4 seconds now, and the periods of carrying on a more normal life are getting longer as well. So,
and when people ask, how do you do it? How do you cope? What do you say?
You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. We're lucky Molly left us some notes. Not many people do. I think about a quarter of people, when they choose to end their lives, do. And one of the things she did was live long and stay strong. I need you to do that.
She wrote that?
She wrote that to us and to her friends. So she said to everyone, live long, stay strong. I'll see you in a little while when you're old and grey. I think what she meant was get on and live the rest of your life.
Don't
And
die
we'll
like
be-
me.
Don't die. We'll be reunited soon enough.
Wow.
Wow.
She sounds really intelligent. She sounds like really old.
Sounds like a lucky child.
Yeah.
I would have loved
I
Yeah.
think you probably would. You may speak for Tim.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ian. Thank you very much for coming on the programme. Trinity and Aoife, thank you very much for talking to Ian. Ian, for meeting Trinity and Aoife. And Banaka, thank you very much for your time as well. We appreciate it. Thank you. And if you would like some help, then please do go to the BBC Action Line. It's bbc.co.uk/action line, or you can call them free at any time. I've got loads of organisations and support groups that can help you if you need some help. If you just need someone to talk to as well. Still to come, it's being hailed as a triumph.